Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Mal with Made by Manny and Mal. In today's video, we're going to be making a split tumbler. We're doing a half and half horizontal split. This is a perfect tutorial for beginners if you want to learn how to do split cups, if you want to learn how to do vinyl wrapped cups. This is a great tutorial for beginners and advanced tumbler makers. So this is the cup we're going to be making. I really love how it turned out and it's really kind of fun and bright, has a lot of colors, which is right up my alley. Before we get into our tutorial, I have to announce the winner of our giveaway. I used a random generator to pick the winner. So here is the video of the winner being selected. And congratulations, Keisha Johnson. I am so excited for you. You are our winner. So keep an eye out. I will be sending you a message on Instagram to get your mailing address and things like that. So congratulations and thank you to everybody who participated. I definitely want to do more giveaways in the future. So thank you for following me on this journey. And I really appreciate all of your comments on the giveaway video and all of your comments on all my videos. You guys always say the nicest things and you just make me feel really good. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of you and I am really excited for what's to come. So thank you all and congratulations to Keisha again. Everything I'm using will be linked in the description box below, so be sure to check that out if you want to know where I got any of my supplies or anything like that. My social media is also linked there. Okay, I think that's it. Let's go. So we're going to be starting with a 24-ounce plump from the steel Magnolia. I've sanded this down and washed it with Dawn, so it's ready to go. And we're using a pattern vinyl sheet that I had custom printed from the Vinyl Cottage. I purchased these digital papers from Etsy, and then I just uploaded them to the Vinyl Cottage website. They have a custom printed listing option, and it was really easy. I bought like a bazillion of them. So what we're going to do with this vinyl is wrap the bottom half of our cup. We're going to do a horizontal split. So I'm using that tape as a guide for where to place my vinyl. So I didn't measure the middle of the cup or, put it exact. I just kind of eyeballed it. And I'm putting that at the top middle. So the bottom edge of my tape is where I'm going to line my vinyl up to make sure that one, I get it straight, and two, that it stays on the bottom half of the cup. I'm just going to trim off the white border of our vinyl, make sure that we have a perfectly straight edge and that we can just line that right up with our orange tape on our cup. I'm taking our cup and I'm lining up that top edge of our vinyl with the bottom edge of our tape, and I'm going to just measure it, make sure that it will wrap around straight, and then I'm going to mark off where I'm going to trim off any excess. I'm just going to take a pencil and kind of estimate. I want to leave enough room at the bottom so that we can wrap that bottom edge with the vinyl as well, but I want to really save as much of this vinyl as I can. So once I've got that marked off, I'm just going to take my little paper trimmer and slice off the vinyl we're going to use. So now that we've got that, we're ready to actually apply it to our cup. So I'm going to do it the exact same way that I normally would. I'm going to peel off one little piece of the vinyl from the backing, and then this time, since we're lining it up with some tape, I'm going to simultaneously try to match the top border of our vinyl with the bottom edge of our tape and also get the edge of it straight. So once I've got it anchored down, I'm going to wrap it around just to make sure that it is on there straight and that it's going to wrap around just fine. And then before I apply any more of the vinyl, I'm going to remove my tape and then move forward how I normally would with a vinyl wrap. Just slowly push the backing off the vinyl with my thumbs as I adhere the vinyl to the cup. Once I get almost to the end of my vinyl, I'm going to take that same piece of orange tape and put it a little bit past our initial anchor that we put down with our vinyl, and then complete my wrap. And this is going to help me trim off the excess and make sure that I don't trim off so much that we expose stainless steel. So you can do this either before you complete the wrap or after if you want. I think it's easier to do it before, but I forget a lot of the times and end up doing it after most of the time. So once we've got our excess vinyl trimmed off, we're going to take our X-Acto knife and then just run it along the edge of that tape to make sure that we can cut as straight as possible. And then we'll remove that tape along with the excess vinyl. And I ended up just going rogue here and trimming off a little bit more. I could see the border or the edge of the vinyl through, so I knew that I wasn't cutting off too much, but I don't know why. And then I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just pop any bubbles that we might have. You can do this really easily. You just have to pierce like the tiniest little hole in your bubbles and then smooth them out. And especially once you've got epoxy on your cup, you won't even be able to tell. And moving on to the bottom of our cup, I'm going to stretch that bottom excess vinyl up and over the edge of my cup, and I'm trying to get it as smooth as possible on the immediate like outer edge, and then we're going to trim off all of that bunched up part in the middle. Now the steel Magnolia cups have a handy little ridge at the bottom, so I just use that as my guide for trimming off any excess. So as long as my vinyl is smooth before we hit that little ridge, we are good to go and we're in business. Once I've got that excess trimmed off, I'm just going to go over this vinyl that has stuck around and make sure that it's really down and really adhered to our cup before we move on to the next step. Our next step is to spray paint the top half of our cup. So I'm taking some blue painter's tape and taping off the top edge of our vinyl, and then I'm going to wrap the rest of the bottom half of the cup in saran wrap. You can totally use tape all the way down if you want to, but I think the saran wrap just saves a little bit of tape. Once I've got it all wrapped up, I'm going to go outside and paint it with this semi-gloss white from Rustoleum. You can use gloss, you can use flat, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to let this dry about 30 to 45 minutes. And once it's dry, I'm taking less than 1 milliliter of epoxy and spreading it all over the top half of our cup. I don't know why I don't have a cup chuck in the top of this cup. I've just left the saran wrap on and I'm just holding it by the bottom. I don't know. Anyway, I'm using Chantilly from Peachy Olive Glitters and Oracle from PDB. The main color is Oracle, and then we're going to go in with Chantilly just to fill in any gaps. So taking that Oracle and sprinkling all over that top half, trying to get the best coverage we can. And once I've got that on, I'm going to tap off any excess, make sure that it's all stuck on there. And then I'm going to take Chantilly and just really douse her in Chantilly just to make sure we've got all of our spots covered, everything's filled in with glitter, and that we have really solid coverage. One thing I really like to do when I use a chunky glitter is take a little piece of parchment paper and tap it all down. This helps it lay flat and prevents you from having to do 1,000 coats of epoxy to get it smooth, and you also don't have to do as much sanding. So you can either wrap your entire cup in a big sheet of parchment paper, or you can take a little sheet like I did and just tap it down, make sure that everything is laying flat. I immediately removed the tape and let it sit for about 2 to 3 hours, and then I was ready to go in with my first coat of epoxy. I'm using about 20 milliliters of a little extra epoxy, and I'm starting off by sealing the bottom of our cup where the vinyl is. I don't want to go up and down my cup to get any of that glitter into our vinyl sections. I want to make sure that these stay totally separate and not contaminated. So once I had the bottom done, I went up to the top and epoxied that, and I let it cure about 6 hours before I went in with a second coat of about 20 milliliters. Once that coat cured, I sanded the top rim of our cup, but I did not sand the part where our water slide is going to go. You don't want to apply water slide on a sanded surface because it will look dull under epoxy. So I'm taking that water slide that I got from Happy Frills, and I'm going to seal it using my semi-gloss clear spray paint from Rustoleum, and I'm doing 3 really light coats, and I waited about 20 to 25 minutes in between each coat. Before we apply our water slide to our cup, we need to cut it out because when we sealed it, the edges of the water slide also got sealed, so you want to make sure that you cut out your image after you've already sealed it to ensure that it will slide off the backing easily. I've got my room temperature, kind of leaning on the warm side, water, and I'm going to stick the water slide in there and wait about 2 minutes.
and I'm going to find the side opposite our seam to make sure that it's on the front of the cup, and just get the top portion of that cup wet using the same water that our decal is soaking in. Working with a wet surface will help us position the water slide and make sure that we can get it exactly where we want it. So now that our decal is ready to apply, I'm going to kind of anchor it the same way that we would a vinyl decal and just slide out the backing slowly, make sure that we can get it smooth, and then I'm going to take a little piece of my paper towel and dunk it in our water to smooth out any air bubbles or ripples, anything like that. You can also use one of those little silicone makeup brushes. Those work really, really well too. Once I've got it positioned, I'm going to take my dry paper towel and just push out any excess water. We don't need the water slide to be completely dry. We just want to get out any of that excess water sitting underneath. So now we're going to set this aside, let it sit and dry a full 24 hours, and then we're going to seal it with a really thin coat of epoxy. I think I use maybe like 10 to 15 milliliters. When that coat of epoxy is all cured, you're ready to apply your vinyl striping. I originally was going to do a hot pink stripe, and then I decided that I wanted to do kind of an opal-y duochrome looking vinyl, so it would pick up all the colors in that water slide decal. So I'm using an opal vinyl from TECKWRAP Craft. I will have the exact name and a link to it in the description box below. I'm starting at the back of our cup to make sure that all our seams will meet in the same place, and I'm just anchoring down one piece of this vinyl stripe, holding it kind of taut and straight, and then rolling my cup on my table to make sure that this stripe gets applied as straight as possible. So the cup is really doing all the work here, and I'm just repositioning the stripe a little bit to make sure that the ends meet up perfectly. I'm going to take my craft knife and trim off any vinyl excess. I'm really glad I chose the opal vinyl. I think it kind of ties everything together. So this is what we've got so far. Now it's time to take care of this booty. I taped off the bottom edge of our cup with electrical tape and then wrapped the cup in saran wrap. And we're going to paint it with Luminous green from Montana Colors. This color matches our vinyl pretty much perfectly, so I was really happy about that. I let it dry about an hour, and once it was dry to the touch, I'm going to apply a circle that I cut out of the same vinyl. I cut this circle at 2.7 inches in diameter, and I'm just going to peel it off like a sticker and apply it to the center of the bottom of our cup. So we've got kind of a continuation of our vinyl, but everything looks really seamless and clean, and I really like finishing cups off this way. I added my final coat of epoxy. I used 25 milliliters of a little extra epoxy, just did one final coat, and once that was all cured, we were all done. I really love how this cup turned out. I love this pattern vinyl, and I think that the combination of colors and everything is just really fun. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. If you like the tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for new videos every Tuesday and Saturday. And if you try this technique, be sure to tag me in your photos on Instagram at madebymannyandmal. I cannot wait to see what you are created to create. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.